You are live? Good afternoon. Welcome to our work session. Today is Monday, July 14th. It's approximately 1 p.m. I'm Mayor Eric Enriquez. We will start with a moment of silence. First of all, for our Deputy Sheriff in our county that was killed in the line of duty, Antonio Aleman. And then a moment of silence for the victims of Ruidoso and the catastrophe that they've had there as well. If you join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First on the agenda is Jobs of the Week. Sarah Rainey.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mayor. All right, my name is Sarah Rainey. I'm the one-stop coordinator for the Southwest region of America's Job Center, New Mexico. For Jobs of the Week, we have a police cadet for the city of Las Cruces starting at $24 an hour, and that posting closes in September. We also have an engineering technician 2 for the city starting at $22.85 an hour, and that is a continuous posting at this time. For brake masters, we have an automotive mechanic that depends on experience for the pay, and the posting closes in August. For Doñana County, we have a court compliance secretary lead starting at $16.73 an hour, and the posting closes on the 15th, so very quickly. Also for Tyson Crop Materials, they have multiple positions. Just 3 of them starting out as millwright for $35 an hour, a quality inspector for $31,000, starting at $31,000, a machine operator starting at $32,000, and there's a couple more that they listed. Just a quick recap on our events that we have coming up. This week on Wednesday, we have our monthly Community of Hope Job Readiness. Invite any one of you to come out and meet the attendees there. They're looking for job readiness skills, interview skills. We help them with resumes and applying for jobs, all of the above. So that's open on Wednesday. And then in August, we have Mountain Shadows will be at our office. They are doing on-the-spot interviews. Bring your resume, come ready for an interview, and they're interviewing on the spot and have offered jobs. So that's a big one. And then we have our Career Essentials. That one is our TANF office that gives job readiness skills and help. So we have a lot coming up. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.
Yes, sir.
Next is Pets of the Week. Carol?
I am Carol Nilsson, Digital Content Specialist with the Animal Services Center of the Mesilla Valley. As a reminder, our Dog and Cat of the Week, anytime they are promoted, are available at no cost through the week. This week we have Rolly. His number is 87393 to look him up on our website. I was found with my brother in the desert, and thanks to all the TLC I've received, I'm blossoming into a playful companion. I might take a moment to warm up, but once I feel comfortable, I'm all about gentle pets and cuddles. I'm people motivated and playful, though I can be a little jumpy when I'm excited. I promise I'm gentle when taking treats. I'm looking for a patient and loving family to help me build my confidence and create beautiful memories together. Our Cat of the Week is Pineapple. His number is 92658 to look him up on our website. Just like my name, I'm a little sweet and a bit tangy once I get to know you. Part of my journey growing up in the shelter is that I can be a bit unsure of humans at first, but I'm eager to learn and explore. The more you get to know me, you'll see me get into all sorts of fun shenanigans, just like a playful kitten should. If you're looking for a sweet companion with a dash of adventure, I might be the perfect match for you. We also want to highlight our long-term residents to get them out because, of course, the longer they stay at the shelter, the harder it is for them to thrive. And just as a reminder, all adoptions throughout the month of July are just $25, so great time to adopt. Peppa has been with us now 344 days. We would really love to see her find a home. Fresa was our dog of the week last week, didn't get adopted, unfortunately, has been with us 251 days. Isley, 236 days, and Luther has been with us 223 days, and he is one of our red zone dogs. He is heartworm positive, and so it means he's at risk of being euthanized as we are at capacity right now. So we would love to see him get adopted soon. And this weekend we'll be at Petco on Saturday from 9 to 12, so definitely come on out. We always have a variety of our shelter pets there to adopt, and then also, even if you can't adopt, bring a friend, say hello, socialize with the dogs. That's helpful for them. And as always, you can find more information on our website or social media. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Next, I'll read a closed meeting statement. Excuse me. The City Council met in closed session today at 11:35 on July 14th. The following were in attendance: myself, Mayor Enriquez, Mayor Pro Tem Bencomo, Councilor McClure, Councilor Graham, Councilor Coran, City Manager Ikani Tamapayao, City Attorney Brad Douglas, and City Clerk Christine Rivera. The purpose of the closed meeting was to discuss pending or threatening litigation regarding Margarita Reese and Mercedes Reese versus the City of Las Cruces. The meeting adjourned at 11:42 a.m. And with that, we'll start with our agenda items. First on the agenda is 4.1 Neighborhoods Tree Program. Jennifer Kleitz.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council, for the opportunity to present today. Let's see. I wanted the opportunity to talk with the Mayor and City Council this afternoon, because several years ago, the City of Las Cruces supported the Doñana Soil Water Conservation District in our effort to get a grant from the Forestry Service. In 2022, Shannon Horst from Tree New Mexico made a presentation to the City Council about Tree New Mexico's Neighborhoods program that they conduct in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And we were in audience at that presentation. A little later that same year, Tree New Mexico had a pilot planting of 50 trees in the neighborhood around Apodaca Park, and we participated in that event as well. In early 2023, the Forestry Service published a notice of funding opportunity for urban and community forestry projects, and we collaborated with Tree New Mexico and submitted a proposal. Our proposal was supported with letters from the City of Las Cruces Parks and Rec Department, the Sustainability Office, and the City Manager's Office. We were very grateful for that support. We also received support from the City of Sunland Park. In September of 2023, we were notified that we were awarded a 5-year, $1 million grant for our project. And the goal of the project is to plant 2,100 trees in the City of Las Cruces in Doñana County and give away 2,100 trees. Part of our project proposal brought in the study that the City of Las Cruces had done a couple of years before on the heat index in the City of Las Cruces. And using those numbers and that data, that helped support, I believe, the reason we were funded for this project. So we wanted to let you know what we're doing, how we're doing, as we have gone underway. We're in year 2, halfway through year 2. And so since the beginning of the program, the Soil Water Conservation District has had 2 plantings, one 50-tree planting in the South Solano area, and one 50-tree planting near University Hills Elementary School. What we have found is that we use the schools in the area as our staging areas. So these plantings, we do the preparation work, we identify the neighborhood, we reach out to local homeowners in the neighborhood and collaborate with them. If they are willing to water and care for the tree, we bring in a team, and on one Saturday morning, the holes are already dug, the trees are where they belong, and we have teams of 5 to 6 people who have knowledge about planting trees, and we plant them in those neighborhoods. Then we come back to the staging area, and people gather, and we celebrate our volunteers. It takes a lot of wonderful volunteers to do this. And then we give away 50 trees. We are getting ready for our fall plantings. There's going to be 2 50-tree plantings in the area of Lynn Middle School in October, and there's going to be 1 100-tree planting in the area of Sierra Middle School in November, and we're also going to do a 50-tree planting in Sunland Park in the Tierra Madre subdivision. We wanted to welcome you and let you know where we are with this, and we'll be reaching out to the counselors in these different districts because we would love your support. We also wanted to let you know that we are grateful for the trees that we were given from your Parks and Recreation Department. They got them through the Apache Tree Grant. Our nursery, High Desert Native Plants, is taking care of them until we have our tree planting events, and then they will be part of our giveaway trees. You can see here where we've got some trees lined up. We've got our volunteers there. There's little instructions on the different kind of trees that they are. These are drought-tolerant trees. They are picked and selected particularly for our area. And here everyone is getting ready to go out in their teams. They're getting their last instructions. They go out, as you can see, the holes are already dug. That's a big selling point when we're trying to get our volunteers. You do not have to dig the hole. And we have a lead on each team who's an expert, an arborist, or has gone through tree steward training. 2 of our wonderful volunteers. One is Les Finley. I know that for many, many years, Les was the horticulturist for the city of Las Cruces for many, many years. And John White. John is an arborist. He does a lot of work planting trees here and helping folks in El Paso. We also have a wonderful team from Truth or Consequences. They're the Scat Cats. They're an Envirothon team. They have just won their 13th national title this year, and they come down to Las Cruces and help us plant trees. We go up to Truth or Consequences and help Tree New Mexico plant trees. They come down to Sunland Park. We all work together to plant trees in this area. We're very grateful. And here's some more pictures of folks planting trees, getting them just ready, and we have a good time. It's hot, so we only plant like between October and February, because then it's just too hot. But we do get a lot of trees planted. And I also wanted to let you know that we thank you for this opportunity to give you the update. We're grateful for the support from the City of Las Cruces, Parks and Recreation Department, and the Sustainability Department. We're halfway through the 2nd year of our 5-year program and look forward to the next 3 years planting. We are also looking for ways to get more funding, so after this grant is over, we can continue to plant trees in the city of Las Cruces and in Doñana County. So thank you very much for the opportunity. One other thing I did want to say is that the mission of soil and water conservation districts, as outlined in New Mexico state statute, is to conserve and develop the natural resources of the state, to promote the health, safety, and general welfare of the people, and to conserve water and soil resources for the benefit of current and future generations. Through the Neighborhoods program, we are putting this mission into action, enhancing our urban forests, improving soil health, conserving water through smart tree placement, and creating more livable neighborhoods. These community tree plantings are not just beautification projects. They are long-term investments in our environmental resilience, public health, and shared future. Thank you very much, and if you have any questions, I'm do my best to answer.
All right, thank you, Jennifer. Thank you for all that you do. Thanks for all your hard work. It's very much appreciated. I'll see if there's anyone, Councilor Coran.
Thank you so much. This is such a cool program, and I really appreciate you sharing. I know those heat maps, and I don't anticipate my district is necessarily represented on those heat maps as far as places that are targeted for this grant. But I do think that some of us, I just want to put in a request, not just the counselors who have these schools in their districts and stuff. I would ask if you could share it with everyone. Some of us have broader networks that we can share these to that might reach to expand I know folks are always asking me for volunteer opportunities, and also potentially people who want to have trees that would be in the targeted area. So please, if you can share it with all, when you have events coming up, please share it with all of us. We would be happy to elevate it in the ways that we have sort of places to share that information and maybe gather some volunteers to help support you.
Most definitely. We do have a QR code, and we have a website just for our Neighborhoods program. People can sign up to be volunteers, or they can sign up if they want a tree in their area. And that helps us designate.
Great.
According to the grant restrictions, it has to be a CJIS neighborhood. However, most of the city of Las Cruces and Doña County is in a CJIS area. So we're really not having too much trouble with that. And then we do use GIS mapping to look at the canopy and find the neighborhoods and areas that need to be addressed. And so we certainly will do that.
Thank you, and I will look up and find the QR code to share too. So thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
I have a question
Mayor
as
Pro
well.
Tem, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I agree. I love this project. Whatever we can do to continue supporting you, whether in our individual capacities as counselors or as citywide, I'd love to continue supporting this program. I did want to sort of just add a little, perhaps, potential partnership. I recently saw online that planting more trees in some streets can be used as traffic calming measures, actually.
Okay.
And I'd wonder if there was an opportunity for you all to talk to our traffic department at Public Works and see if there was any opportunity. There's so many folks in our community who are constantly reaching out to us about people speeding in their neighborhoods and what do we do and what can we do in this. And honestly, those processes take a really long time. And the other day I saw that planting more trees can help calm traffic. And so wonder if there's an opportunity for you to
Certainly,
do that
certainly.
kind of partnership. And I think that would be
so
cool.
just reach out to the Director of Public Works.
Yes.
All right, we'll do that.
Thank
We
you.
love partnering with you all.
Thank you so much.
And-
Shout out to David, who's right back there too. So
Okay, all right, thank you, thank you.
Councilor McClure.
I just want to say, also think it's a great program. Also think that we should use trees as traffic calming and as a way to say, hey, we create a shades just for people walking from one area to the other. And
Right.
Just curious, I think last time I was vaguely involved. Were you able to find enough homes for all of the trees, or is there any way that you need help with that this time as well?
We're gonna start canvassing, one second. Our program coordinator for the Neighborhoods program, Kat Buckman. Kat, come on up here. She's just getting started now canvassing for the Lynn neighborhoods.
The Lynn neighborhood, yes. We're starting with the one neighborhood for October 4th planting. Sorry about that. We're starting our first neighborhood is October 4th.
I'm sorry,
My
if
name
you
is
could-
is
yes.
Catherine Buckman.
Thank you.
Our first neighborhood that we're planning in is on October 4th around the Lynn neighborhood. It's a very big neighborhood, so we have split it into 2 sections. So we'll be canvassing starting tonight in those areas.
Well, if you need any help canvassing, let us know. So
If you would like to canvass with us, we would absolutely love your help.
We
Sounds
got a
good.
training coming up.
I will be having a training coming up, and I will get an email out to everybody with all the information for all of it. I know I've emailed you before, but I'll get an email out to everybody. I will let you know when our next canvassing training is and when we will be canvassing.
thank you.
Councilor Matisse.
I was going to ask, Katrina, have you worked with this? Oh, you have a card. I was going to say that we have neighborhood captains, neighborhood associations, watch groups, And that'd be great if Katrina Scott and your organization can work together.
Definitely.
Thank
Yes.
you. Great program.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much.
I just want to say thank you again, and I want to add another group to this program, and that would be the Mayor's Top Teen. I think that would be great for our youth in our community and kind of somewhat have control over that group. So they'll be voluntold.
Oh, okay, that's terrific. All right.
No, part of the thing, they do cleanups, they do other things like that for the community. I think this is a great opportunity.
Right.
So
Yes,
we'll
that's terrific.
definitely reach out to you and get the Mayor's Top Teen involved.
Thank you very much. Because the other thing that is another program of ours that we want to get up and running, I told you about the Envirothon team that's in the city, in Truth or Consequences. And we have 4 high schools, and we have a lot of kids. We should have 5 Envirothon teams in the city of Las Cruces, and we don't even have one. So I'm not sure who to start. We're looking for leaders, because they just help the kids study and do all that work, and then a group of 6 kids. So,
Okay, with that, I'll bring it to the Superintendent Reese's attention, and he usually meets with his team of leaders, and we can bring this program up to him as well.
great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. So next on the agenda, 4.2, delegation to Nuremberg, Germany. And I may add that myself and Councilor McClure, we had the privilege, the honor to go and visit Nuremberg and had a great experience, and we're looking forward to the presentation. Katrina?
I don't know why it's taking so long. Has to load. Okay, good afternoon, city councilors, mayor, staff, and public. My name is Katrina Godinez. I'm with the city's Community Engagement Program. I'm here today with our Sister Cities Foundation. We would like to give City Council an update on our trip to Nuremberg, Germany's 1,000th year celebration, and an update on the Sister Cities Foundation. We will start with our Sister Cities Foundation update from the president of our Sister Cities Foundation, Elaine McKinney. Then you will hear from our chairman to the Nuremberg Committee, Allison Smith. And let me go ahead and open this. And thank you, and I leave you with Ms. Elaine McKinney. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, City Councilors, members of the leadership team of Las Cruces, and our guest. We're happy to be here today, and we thank you for this opportunity to give you an update on our Sister Cities Foundation. I want to give you a little bit of a background for those of you who may not be familiar with it. Sister Cities was founded in the United States in 1956 as the result of President Dwight Eisenhower after he came back from World War II and seeing the interaction between cities in the European arena and how they work together. And he wanted to encourage peace through people. And as a result, Sister Cities International Foundation was formed. It now is housed out of Washington, D.C. And we have in the United States over 400 communities within the United States that are partnering with over 1,800 cities around the world in more than 400 countries. So you can see how we reach out as citizen diplomats to cities and places around the world, forming a bond and partnership. And it is an official agreement that is signed between the cities when they become sister cities. Las Cruces had their first sister city partnership formed with Lerdo, Mexico in 1989, informally earlier than that, in 1982. You can see on the map where Lerdo is located in the state of Durango, Mexico. It's about a 10-hour drive from us here. If you fly down, it's probably about a 3.5-hour flight, so relatively close. Our second sister city was formed with Nuremberg, Germany in 1993. And as you can see on the map, Nuremberg is located in the northern part of Germany, southeast of Bremen, which is on the coast, and northwest of Hanover. It's about a 12 to 15-hour flight, and those who went know how long a flight it is for you to go over there. Plus, after you land, there is a little bit of time on the ground, either by auto or by train, to reach our sister city, which is about 45 miles or so from this city of Hanover. Each of our partner cities' relationships began as the result of a student exchange. After our partnership was formed in 1992, we established the Las Cruces Sister Cities Foundation, which is a 501c3 organization. And for the past 35 years, the foundation has been facilitating exchanges between our sister cities and activities between our sister cities and representing all of the city of Las Cruces and our city government as well. Exchanges have included the high schools, both Mayfield High School and Arrowhead Academy out at NMSU, as well as Doñana County Community College began with student exchanges. We've had internships, musicians, artists, and you'll probably see some pictures of what Tony Pinnock did in Nuremberg, and it's really represented over there. I think you'll be impressed. So we've shared a lot of knowledge and training with these exchanges, including medical, water, police, and fire. This helps us to broaden our cultural understanding between our cities and also for us to learn from one another. Las Cruces Sister Cities Foundation includes me, as Katrina said, Elaine McKinney, as the president of the foundation and our board, but we also have chairman of each affiliation committee. One for Lerdo is Tim Chappell, and our chairman of our affiliation committee with Nuremberg is Allison Smith, who you'll hear from shortly. Each sister city signed a formal agreement. These relationships are recognized through Sister Cities International. Las Cruces Sister Cities Foundation represents Las Cruces to provide ongoing communication and a working relationship with our partner cities. After 2025, can't say that it's a result of COVID, but that's part of it too. Our membership declined, and we were considering discontinuing operation. After an appeal to the members, the community, including the city, some city employees, a meeting was held in January of this year, 2025, and it resulted in a resolve to continue the foundation. With that, a new board was formed. We and our current and new members committed to helping to strengthen the foundation. We currently have 36 members, which, believe it or not, is about 166% increase. So we're reaching out. In the past 6 months, we've revised our bylaws in a response to the members' directives. We're currently updating standing rules, a memorandum of agreement with the city, and we have a new website. We are current with all our reporting to the New Mexico Secretary of State and IRS. We're working to train leadership, promote membership, and increase our involvement from the community. We need to reach out. We need to get more people involved. Let you know of our financial status. we're in good standing. We do have over 31,000 in our accounts, various accounts that we have, which supports the foundation. So we are very positive in that regard. We want to continue to promote world peace and cultural understanding through peace through people and through citizenship diplomacy. Everyone that represents our city to our sister cities they are diplomats. They represent you and me as well as the whole city and the state. We want to promote sharing ideas and learning in such areas as education, art, journalism, law, water, medical, fire, police, and historic preservation, just to name a few things and a few areas where we can learn from one another. Our commitment remains strong to work with the city of Las Cruces, our community, and our sister cities. In June, as Katrina mentioned, an official delegation went to Nienburg to celebrate that's not a typo, their 1,000th anniversary as a city. All the planning, training, and coordinating of this trip was done through our affiliation committee and a similar committee in Nienburg. Today, the delegation will share with you some of their recent experiences and what they learned. Allison, if you'll come forward, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. For the record, my name is Allison Smith. I am the chair of the Nienburg Affiliation Committee. It is my honor to be able to share with you some of the highlights of our delegation trip. We were honored to be accompanied by Mayor Enriquez, First Lady Yvette, Councilor McClure, and Ms. Godinez. It was a really fabulous delegation that went. We're going to show you a little video. It's about an 8-minute video. And in this, I'm going to point out some of the highlights that you're going to see. You will see us interacting with the mayor and a lot of folks around town. You will see us interacting with members of the sister cities from VTIPS in Belarus. You will also see us planting a tree. I know the previous group talked about planting trees. It was very important for Nienburg this year to have 1,000 trees planted in honor of their 1,000 years. So we got number 300, and we actually had to dig the hole. And you'll get to see that. Well, the ground was loosened a bit, but you'll also see tours that we took of the waterworks, of the Albert Schweitzer Schule, which is the school that Elaine mentioned that was our exchange with Mayfield. So that spurred on the need and the desire for us to maybe revisit this exchange one more time. We also participated in a 1,000-year parade, so you will see us interacting with the citizens of Nienburg as we hand out some pretty fabulous pens. And also Mayor Enriquez gifted the city of Nienburg a beautiful Nambe platter that was provided by Sister Cities. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and play the video, and then we'll be open for questions on the other side. I think I'm going to do that. There we go.
Tanja, das ist der Bürgermeister von Las Cruces.
Wasn't that a beautiful snapshot of the trip that our delegation made to Nienburg? And believe me, I just want you to know that when they go over there, not only are they representing you and me and everyone else, they're working. They're doing a lot of things, interacting with leaders in the community, going to other departments, learning about water, fire, whatever is the interest and the opportunities at the time. This is a time that we are sharing, and at the same time we're learning the cultural differences. We're promoting world peace and understanding, and we want to make our community stronger, and we feel very strongly, I feel very strongly, that the way to do it is to understand another community and another culture, and we can share that information that we have. I want to encourage each of you to join by becoming a member of Sister Cities Las Cruces Foundation. I want your help to promote our foundation and encourage citizen participation. This is what it's all about. We are here, we want the community involved and to be a part of that. That's how we learn and understand the differences between peoples. So we appreciate your support and involvement and your commitment with us. We do have more information at our Sister Cities Foundation website. Keep in mind that this is a new website, we're working on it, so please bear with us, but we're getting there. So Let me go back there. We want to take time, and Allison, if you want to come up with me, to answer questions either about the Sister Cities Foundation or the delegation trip to Nienburg.
Okay, well, I want to start off by just saying thank you. It was a great experience. I can speak for Yvette as well, my wife. She came, she's in attendance today to support. And, you know, it's not only about the diplomacy, the trip, the events, the work and all. There was another aspect, and it was being hosted by a family, a couple there. And ours was Armut and Annika. Did I say her name right? Anka. And they were wonderful. They were beautiful, the way they treated us. They opened up their home to us, and just learning about their culture and everything. It was just wonderful. So it was a great experience. And when we went to the school and they said they want to bring back the exchange, I'm all for it. I've already spoken to the superintendent. He's talking to his team about getting the teachers and getting everything going so that we can do that. I've spoken to members of Rotary already that said they used to sponsor it, they want to continue, they want to look at that. So doing the legwork on this side, because I think it'd be a great experience for a 16, 17-year-old to experience that, and for them to come over here and experience. And we want to extend that invite to them. Next year, the United States is 250 years, so that could be a celebration there that we could share with them. Not 1,000, but 250. And I just want to just say that thank you for that great experience. It was truly a wonderful time for us.
You're welcome, Mayor, and we are delighted that you went and represented us in Nienburg. We thank you for that.
No, thank you.
And if I may add, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, one of the things that I neglected to mention on the front side of this is every member of this delegation had a slightly different experience based on who they stayed with, based on some of the free time that we had when we weren't working. Our hosts took us to various things that weren't official. And so each member, please reach out to them if you have questions about their independent journey, because everybody was touched slightly differently on this trip.
Comment.
Thank you. Yes, Councilor Flores.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, thank you. It's so good to see you. I was supposed to be with a delegation 2 years ago. I broke my foot, and I couldn't make it this year. But I've spoken with Katrina, and she came back with her eyes as big as the moon. And she was telling me how lovely her her host was, and how she invited her, I think, to go to Paris. She turned it down. Invited her to go to London. She turned it down. And I said, you know, it's like when you go to Europe, it's like you're in Disneyland. You just hop on a train, and there you are a few hours later in a totally different country. But the city I grew up in California, had its sister city in the high school had its sister city in Munich. So Friede Schmidt, I'll never forget her, was actually half Colombian. So she was fluent in Spanish, fluent in English, fluent in German, and she wasn't our guest. She stayed with a family that had the high school student, whatever. And my sister and I were already in college, so she invited us to go. And my mom said, "You can't go." And my brother said, "Yes, they can, Mom," because he had been stationed in Germany. And he said, "Mom, it's Disneyland. Just, everybody is so kind." And I think, apropos of what the mayor mentioned, and you too, I mean, the whole idea is to have people see people as human beings and not representative of some governmental whatever. I don't want to get too, but certain leaders aren't people that we really care for. They don't care for us, but in terms of people to people, that's what makes all the difference in the world. And so I want to thank you all for being there. I'm so glad Katrina went because it's good for them to see who we are as people. And we're really a nation. We are a nation of immigrants, and maybe one day we'll have a Native American join the group, and that would be wow. But that just came to me. Anyway, but thank you. It's
You're welcome.
wonderful to see you, and thank
And
you.
I will emphasize that Sister Cities is apolitical. We're not a member of any particular party when we are visiting with them, and they with us. We are learning about them as a people, and they are learning about us as a people. We're learning from their experience and the things that they do that may be somewhat different from ours. It may or may not work for us, and vice versa. So we're all working together, and we want to continue to be here as a foundation to support Las Cruces and the Sister Cities program. And again, I would request your help and support in being able to do this. I think it's very valuable for our community. Any other questions?
Councilor McClure.
Thank you, Mayor. I also wanted to give a shout out specifically to Allison for her leadership and coordination. This is not a hard thing or easy thing to pull together, getting a bunch of herded cats in one group. And I know a lot of times we're like, where did McClure go? Where did Enrique go? Like this is hard to do. So I want to thank you very much for your leadership on that. I want to riff off a little bit. While that group is not political, I see this as a very political experience too, because you want to demystify what people think about us as Americans. And a lot of times they're going to have preconceived notions and misinformation that they've had or things that they've experienced in other ways. And that is our role, to make sure that they understand who we are as people. And I think that was I think watching, not to steal your thunder here, but watching our mayor interact with the Belarus delegation, we're just plumb happy to meet with him because they were also firefighters, what he didn't. I don't think anybody mentioned that yet. And they were just so excited to share that bond of brothership just across the worlds and still having the same experiences. So, and then I got very excited because when we went there, a firefighter's wife had made the cake, and that's when you know it's going to be good. It's somebody's wife that's making the cake. Amazing. Yes, of course, our experiences were different. I think I am a German. It was nice to visit my aunt Gudrun there and have her tag along on some of the experiences. For me, it was coming home. It was seeing what it was like and comparing it to my present home, because a lot of people don't understand. You can have two places that call to your heart in the same way. And I think we can show that to also looking forward to Lerdo. And I think in these times where there's misinformation, there's animosity between countries, it is up to us to make them realize that there is not hate from all ends here. So I'll close with that.
Thank you. And let me emphasize that Nienburg have five sister cities. They're a population of just a little over 33,000. They can do it. We can do it. And the more that we learn from more people, whether it's from the Belarus area, from Mexico, from Nienburg, Germany, or wherever, it's important. It's very important for all of
I
us.
have a question, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Flores.
Thank you. So when is the next delegation from Lerdo, and when is the next delegation from Nienburg? Is that scheduled? I'm sure it's already scheduled.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, the plan for Nienburg is to invite them over to Las Cruces for a delegation trip from their side to come here. At that point, we'll be asking members of the community to host some of them, become those hosts, and learn from them. The plan is to hopefully have them here next fall. They don't want to travel for 4th of July. They said that's a little hot for them. And so we think maybe October, November might be a really fabulous time of next year. So it'll coincide with our 250. We are the much younger sister. And so it'll be that 250, and hopefully we'll have a nice delegation coming from Nienburg at that time. That's our current plan.
And regarding Lerdo, we have not had an exchange with Lerdo for quite a while. There has been a recent change of leadership down there, and so we are working now to get together with our committee down there and discuss how we're going to move forward. And I think that 2026 would be a great opportunity to have both Lerdo and Nienburg here, if that works. If it doesn't, we'll find something else. But we did have both of our sister cities here for the year that we celebrated our 150th anniversary as a city. So we'll see. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much for all your support. We really do appreciate it.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, would it be possible if we get a picture with the foundation and the delegation to Nienburg?
Sure, that'll be good. All right. Again, thank you all. Wonderful experience, and we'll continue to build on it.
We also have gifts from Nienburg to our city that they're displayed over here.
Okay, next on the agenda is item 4.3, the AMR update. Chief Daniels and City Attorney Douglas. Before they get started, I just want to say a special shout out to Chief Daniels and DC, Tibor, Cruces, and DC. Heck, I know I was up in Ruidoso this weekend and was able to go to the EOC, and Tibor, DC, Cruces was there in action, and also met with the mayor of Ruidoso, Lynn Crawford. He was very thankful and grateful and sends his appreciation to the city of Las Cruces for the support from the TRT team and from management at the EOC. And then I know on Saturday, Chief Daniels went up there on his own to check on staff and see how things were going. So thank you. Thank you for your contribution, and thank you for the support that you offered Ruidoso.
Yes, sir.
So go ahead.
All right. Mr. Mayor, members of council, thank you. Mike Daniels, Fire Chief, Las Cruces Fire Department. I'm here to present to you a little update on the AMR, or the transport system. I really hate to just make it about AMR. Really what it is about our pre-hospital transport system. And I wanted to make sure I made the comment highlighting Tibor after I gave my name for the record. So Tibor, thank you for that. Tibor's shy, so. So really what we're going to talk about is the ambulance transport system. We'll talk about the background. I think that's important. Our current professional services agreement. And then the fire departments and cities' current resource capacity, our next step, and then I'll stand for any questions. So just background, we've historically operated in what we consider, or what we call a two-tiered system. A two-tiered system is when somebody calls 911, they dispatch a first response unit, which in most cities is the fire department when it comes to the medical side or fire side. And then for medical call types, they utilize, or often communities will utilize, a private ambulance system for the EMS transport side of that. It's a strategy used when an area doesn't have the resource capacity to put both fire department resources and their transport services into the system. It allows the private provider to leverage their 911 response in a community and also serve the inter-facility transport needs. What we generally find throughout communities is communities will outgrow that model as their facilities demand, inter-facility transfer demand, and also 911 services demand increases. It just doesn't remain a cost-effective option. So until the current contract that we have today, the county managed the ambulance services contract. With our input, not necessarily what our needs were. And I think that's important. We started a process, which I'll talk about shortly, that really allowed us to say, hey, we account as a city for the largest amount of transports in the county, and we need to ensure our citizens are receiving the highest level of service within a contract. But in 2012, we were noticing a significant amount of times where we were remaining on scene for 30, 40 minutes, an hour, waiting for an ambulance to arrive on scene. And it was just tearing at what we expected our citizens deserved when it came to emergency response. So we started having dialogue with AMR in the county on the system. And in 2012, we put our first transport-capable unit into the 911 system. It was stationed out of Station 2 on Foster and Chaparro, which is our busiest single company in the city. That ambulance was actually donated by AMR. It was one of the ones that they were cycling out of their system, and it was used to transport life and limb emergencies in the event that AMR wasn't available. And for reference, because I'll talk to you how our transport system has grown since 2012, but that unit transported less than 10 times its first year in service. A single unit transported less than 10 times. It was primarily used to run those overload calls and low acuity calls where it didn't make sense to send $1 million engine and 4 people to, so they ran a lot of vehicle lockouts throughout the city, really low acuity call types. In 2019, as our demand for service continued to increase, we went from 10 in 2012 to 500 to 1,000 to 2,000 to 3,000 transports. And we got to a point to where we said, the Las Cruces Fire Department is transporting way too many times for us not to have our own certificate and for us not to be able to dictate the terms that our citizens will receive pre-hospital care. So at that time, Chief Enriquez, we filed for our own certificate of convenience and public necessity, which gave us the ability not only to control the terms within the city, but also bill for those services to private insurance, which we weren't doing prior to 2019. So we filed our certificate. The county and AMR intervened as protesters. They protested our ability to do that. And we had a settlement agreement that was reached in 2020 to work as a system together. That system was pretty much, in a nutshell, the cliff notes of that agreement was that we would manage the contract for services for the whole county, and the county would contribute the stipend with us providing service in the community as almost an in-kind response to the financial commitment that the county was making. So that's where we are today. From the time we reached the settlement to the time we had a contract was in place was a little over 3 years as the previous contract terminated, and because it was slated to terminate in February of 2023 or 2024, and we took over in March of 2024. So the current contract, it placed emphasis on the 911 system. It ensured the county had dedicated units that were only used for 911 calls. So 4 units were dedicated into the county for 911 calls. They couldn't be pulled into the city to perform interfacility transfers. The central zone units, which include the city, were ones that could be leveraged for transfers, but it also forced AMR to have transfer units that were only dedicated to interfacility transfers. So the county was responsible for the subsidy, the $3 million, as I discussed, and the city was providing units and absorbing the critical call types within the city to help free up those other units to respond in the county surrounding the city in what we call the central zone. We currently work on a priority dispatch system, so it not only gives us the call type, but it also gives us the call acuity based on the caller's information and what our dispatch receives. So there are liquidated damages. AMR pays a fine when services, or in essence, they have damages taken from their stipend whenever they don't meet the contract's demands. And those in the central zone surrounding the city aren't based on unit hour. They're purely based on response time compliance. So they have to meet the 85th percentile, and they receive a penalty for every percentage underneath that 85th percentile. There are also penalties for excessively late calls where they don't respond in the heart of the city or they can't provide a unit on scene within 22 minutes. At that point, we dispatch one of our rescues, we take the call, and AMR receives a penalty for not being able to respond to that call in a timely manner. All that to say, year one's liquidated damages out of $3 million, they received $2.859 million in damages for year one. Which for the city, this is what it means. So in the county, there was a lot of discussion on their level of effort areas. They did increase and prioritize being able to serve the unincorporated area of the county. So they were meeting 90+% of their unit hours for there, but it does come at a cost. And when you only have units available for transfers within the core or the city, this is what we saw for critical emergent calls in Zone A, which takes into account the majority of the city. And if you look at the PowerPoint, you can see that faint purple line. That is the zone that I'm speaking about, Zone A. For critical emergent call types, which they were required to have a 10-minute, 59-second response time for critical emergent and 12:59 for non-critical emergent call types. The contract stated 85%. They were able to meet those response times 44% of the time for critical emergent calls, which means if somebody was having a heart attack or a stroke, 44% of the time they would be able to arrive within that call time. Non-critical emergent, 54% of the time they were able to meet those call types, which could be an overdose, a breathing problem call, an asthma attack. So for us, we've had significant amount of concern with that. And I want to say that I don't think this is a flaw with AMR per se. I think this is a flawed system with having a contract with response time standards that are 2 years old before the contract is even executed or worked upon. There's no flexibility within this, and the flexibility has to come on our end to continue to put units in service. And that's what we're doing as a fire department to deal with that demand. We are putting units into the system to ensure that we have the ability to back up the contract when the contract isn't successful. Historically, we see about 3 to 6% increase in call volume every year. So by the time we use data for this, and we took actual response data with reasonable expectations for growth, and by the time the contract was executed, the system status plan couldn't meet the demands of the system. So these are some of the concerns that we see, and I just want to reiterate that I think it's a problem within the system status plan, and when you have a private contractor coming in and providing the service, they have margins, they have profit margins they have to make, or they don't stay in business if they lose money. And for us, that's always going to be a concern, because our concern is the safety and welfare of our public, regardless of our capacity to make money. So on May 23rd, given the nature of the contract after the first year, I believe understanding the penalties that were associated with it, and also because of the interfacility demand and some of the concerns from the interfacility or the facilities in our area, 2 other providers entered the process to get their certificate to provide ambulance coverage. So that, in lieu of some other things that I believe AMR felt, which I'll address, we received a letter stating there was a change of circumstance, and instead of $3 million, they were now requesting $5.2 million of subsidy. When we performed an analysis of the response system, for a little over $3 million, we felt we can put enough units in the county to deal with the entire response system. So we all met in early June. When I say we all, the Ambulance Oversight Committee, our legal, the county's legal, and the response community met and said, and really entertained whether or not we felt this would be valuable in renegotiating, or if we were just at a position where the city has been preparing for since 2012, and we took a deliberate step to do in 2019, if it was going to be in our best interest to continue that process of having a contract under this system. And unanimously, City of Las Cruces representatives, Doña County representatives, Sunland Park representatives, Mesilla, Anthony, Anthony wasn't specifically there, but Mesilla, because the county currently provides service to Anthony and Hatch. We all unanimously felt like it was in the best interest for the fire-based model to be the model for the county at large. And so we notified AMR that we were not going to be interested in renegotiating a contract with them. Some of the things they highlighted were the possible new entrants, which I mentioned. We had 2 providers who submitted their certificates to provide services in Doña County. The lack of radio system interoperability and then MRVDA errors creating issues. To some of that, we were a little taken back because the contract went into effect in March of 2024. By April of 2024, we had already provided AMR not only with the how to get onto the radio system, but we provided them quotes from the provider that we used to get them onto the radio system. They just didn't have the radios or didn't buy the radios until later in the year. And then with the MRVDA errors, under our contract, for the first time in their history in Doña County, they have direct access to the CAD, so they don't even rely on communicating with the dispatcher for the response times to mark on scene, and that's the first time that's ever happened, and that was done under this contract, and they've had that capacity since August of last year, so just 4 months into the contract. So all this takes me to our current demand and resources that we have for the city. So last year, demand-wise, for transports, we performed over 4,500 transports in 2024 calendar year. So our demand increase is going to be to between 10 and 12,000 transports is what we believe, which would equate to from about 8,500 calls to about 15 to 16,000 calls for our transport units to respond to, because they don't always transport on every call, but it is going to increase their demand significantly. So we currently have 4 24-hour transport units in the system, and we've already been funded by council for a 5th 24-hour unit in Rescue 9. That apparatus or transport unit is fully funded in the FY26 budget, so isn't going to require any additions. We would just put it into service a little earlier than we anticipated. The staffing for that unit is currently finishing their EMT class. They have 4 weeks left of their EMT portion, and they will be coming online early to mid-August. There will be, and there's also going to be a significant amount of, I believe, need in the area surrounding the city. I don't believe the surrounding agency are as prepared as we are to take this on. So as we always are, good partners, we're going to do our best to support the system at large so that regardless of where you live in Doña Ana County, there are services available. So I expect that you will see our department responding quite a bit in the area surrounding the city limits, so the county has the ability to focus on the more rural areas of the county as they build up their capacity. So as far as next steps, we have established the need for 3 peak hour units. So that is to manage the demand increase that we expect on the 911 system. We will need to add additional personnel for those units. We're currently exploring a single role option, which is a non-firefighter EMT paramedic. So, and we're currently working on that with the city and through labor management with our union. We also expect the need for additional transport units. We have the ability to put transport units into the system, but we don't have any reserve depth once we do this. So to get 8 units, that will leave us with 1 reserve. So if we have more than 1 transport unit down for maintenance or repairs, we will have to shut units down, which we don't want to do. We want to ensure that we have an effective response force and that our reserve depth is adequate. So it'll allow us to take some of our older units, place them as reserves, so when there are units out for maintenance, we don't have to actually take units out of service and have them not responding to the community. We expect that we need 4 additional units for where we're at today. On June 10th, County Commission approved funding for the surrounding areas. We're waiting to hear back from the county on what specifically that's going to look like, but what we've been told preliminarily is that it should be enough to fund 2 of the 4 units that we're going to need for the system. And they did that out of their version of the Telshore Fund. So we will need to secure the balance of the units needed over the next fiscal year or 2. These units take a while to come in. They're generally 12 to 24 months from the time we order them to the time we actually receive a unit. There are some units that will be available later this year. That's what we're hoping to leverage the county funds to purchase so that we can commit to some ones that are coming in later next year. Fiscal impacts, 2024 net revenues from transports, our current transports, and mind you, so this was 1.53 million out of a little over 2.5 million that we billed out. Based on the demand and a 50% collection rate, we expect that would go up to about 2.5 million, very conservatively. I was speaking with the DC Cruces about these numbers. These are very, very conservative numbers. We realistically think that we are going to be collecting in the 3 to 3.5 million range for the year with the current demands. And what we expect the cost of the personnel to be is about $1.2 million. So we expect that we will receive more in billing revenues as well as supplemental funds based on our Medicaid transports, because as a government entity, we receive what they call ambulance supplemental payment program funding, which is Center for Medicaid, Medicare diversion funds. So it comes back to transport entities for cities and counties who also transport. Naturally, I put a bullet point that says, based on recently passed legislation, I'm not sure how that's going to impact the ASPP portion of Medicaid and Medicare funding. So we believe these funds will offset the cost of the additional personnel. There will be some initial investments in apparatus or transport units and supplies that I believe will not be completely offset immediately, but will come over time. As far as interfacility transfer impacts, because we've made the notice to AMR that we don't intend on renewing their contract, we have really kept an eye on these cases and have tried to facilitate those cases or those companies being able to provide service in Doña Ana County. It looks like they will be receiving their certificates, but it is up to the New Mexico Department of Transportation. So while I say it looks like it, it's still a guess. AMR is also looking to maintain their footprint here. They have filed to amend one of their certificates so they can continue to provide service within the community, and they're agreeing to interfacility and backing up the 911 system as needed so that the impacts as we transition to a fire-based EMS model aren't so, we're not impacted as negatively by that transition. I really expect that that's going to be something needed in the rural areas of the county. So this has the potential to place more units in service for interfacility transports than has been available without taking away from the 911 system, which is where we're at today. It will decrease wait times for our citizens needing critical transfers. It'll also increase the capacity of current facilities who are having to use the 911 system to perform their transfers because the wait times are too long. So right now, when a facility doesn't receive a timely response from the interfacility side, they just call 911 because we will show up and get them transported. It's the same concern we have with people who don't have access to primary health care. People who don't have access to primary health care use urgent cares and the ERs for primary health care. We see the same thing play out with the transfer system in that. So that creates a backup for everybody, and if hospitals can't move patients, the ERs get backlogged, our personnel are waiting an hour holding a wall with a patient, and they're not getting to definitive care. So we believe that we are taking steps to create efficiencies in the system that improve patient outcomes. And then, in conclusion, I did promise this would be quick, so we have been preparing for this since 2012. This isn't something that we haven't kept on our radar. And in 2019, had we been successful with our certificate, we wouldn't be having this conversation today. We would have just been providing this service as a fire-based EMS model. So we are committed to continuing to work with our local partners, both fire departments and private ambulance. Like I said earlier, I don't think this is an AMR issue. I think this is purely the relationship or the situation that you come across when you have a private model within the pre-hospital 911 system. Our goal is to minimize some of these and truly provide our citizens with the level of service that they deserve. We have the ability to adjust and adapt that model when we control the 911 response side of that. It's probably not a great analogy, but I used this earlier in a conversation. Like, we wouldn't hire a security company, even though they're great people, to police our streets. Like, when somebody calls 911, they should receive a representative from the fire department. So, this end of the contract has nothing to do with field level service. I just want to reiterate that and highlight the fact that we think our partnership with AMR and the private entities is instrumental in ensuring that we have a robust response system, and their field level providers, they make the same commitment that our personnel do in providing the highest level to the community. I don't want that to get lost in any of these conversations. But I do believe this is a natural progression for communities who have outgrown the two-tiered system model. And And I think it's just now, as we believed in 2019, when then Chief Enriquez tried to do this, it's our time to kind of make this step into a fire-based EMS model where we can ensure that our citizens are receiving adequate, timely response and transport to the hospitals when they call 911. And with that, I stand for any questions.
Go ahead, Mayor Pro Tem. Go ahead.
Oh, me first? Thank you. Thank you. And thank you so much, Chief Daniels. Again, it's been quite the year for you as your first few months of you being as chief. So deeply grateful for all of you and for us being here. I know it's been a long time, obviously, and I do just have some questions. I'm curious if you can talk a little bit about the billing needs. Obviously, right now, the department already does some billing, right, with an external contractor. I'm curious if you can talk about just continued billing needs we will have in this new model.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem. Currently, we have a contract with EMSMC, who is our billing company, and they take a percentage, I believe it's 4%, 4.25%, which is actually a very reasonable rate for billing. And I don't believe we are going to need any new infrastructure for billing. They're designed and they are perfectly capable of managing the demand that we are going to see when it comes to increased billing. The nice thing for what I think for our public when it comes to billing is now they're only receiving a bill from one person. They can expect to receive it from one organization, and the members of our public aren't going to be treated differently depending on who's sending them the bill.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think that's an additional plus, honestly, right?
Yes.
I think that, yeah. So, and we are a public interest, right? We don't have private interest attached to our services, and so I do think that'll be an additional plus. I imagine that additionally, folks in the county can have access to the indigent fund through the county if they're not able to pay for ambulance service as they do now, correct?
Correct.
Yes. I wanted to really appreciate that you did know the current legislation that passed in Congress a couple of weeks ago. I was going to mention it if you didn't, so I'm very, very glad that you are sort of tracking that. I do feel like that's almost like terrible timing of we're shifting to this model, knowing that our population highly rely on Medicaid. And so I do think, City Manager, that this is yet another one of those things that we have to be very clear about what the big betrayal bill will be doing to our communities. And you don't have to frame it that way, I will, but I do just want to note that it's important. I think it's really important that you added it on here as a potential risk to be aware of in the future. And then I'm curious in terms of the fines that you talked about that were accumulated, are those going to be paid? Have they been paid? What will happen with those?
Mayor Pro Tem, so we were in discussion for, I would say, quite some time. I look at Brad just to see what his reaction was going to be, but we were in discussion. We have been able to reconcile that amicably with AMR. Okay. So they did bill us for the remainder of their year one. We have processed that. We had a PO in place. We've processed what that payment would be to them. Total for year one, it was I want to say just over $180,000. Oh, $133,000. That has been processed, and they should be receiving that payment, and we'll be able to close it out. And whatever money is remaining goes back to the county, because okay. That initial $3 million they provided was part of their indigent fund reserves. So we want to work to get them that funding back as quick as possible. Under the current agreement, the contract will end September 20th. At that point, we will be able to completely close out with AMR, and every bit of money that the county has paid for out of the indigent fund should be able to go back minus whatever AMR receives in the form of their billing.
Okay, thank you. Can you talked about 2 additional providers that are seeking certificates. Can you talk about who they are, or if that's okay if not, I'm just curious?
Yes, I can. One of them is a local company called EP Medical Transport, and the other is Elite Medical Transport, who already operates interfacility throughout the state. They have several bases. And all of this is public record on the DOT. With regard to some of these specific, I will have to defer to Brad, but those are the 2 providers who I believe we will see awarded by the DOT certificates in the capacity to transport.
And they're private providers?
They are private providers.
Okay. How does that work in the 911 system then? So in the new model, how will that work? So you tell me.
Yes. Mayor Pro Tem.
I was going to try to guess, but never mind. You tell me.
So right now in the 911 system, they would not be a part of the 911 system.
Okay.
We would call upon them if we had a mass casualty incident or through whatever agreed upon mutual aid process that we have for those 2 providers. And we've been very specific with them that we believe anybody who is a private provider in Doña Ana County should be a part of a mass casualty
system
agreement if we have that, and they've both been very willing to be a part of that. So to the point, one of them's even sent us a draft MOU of what they use in other areas. So they're working with us to create a model that has that. And also AMR has agreed that they would continue to be a part of the 911 backup system since they already have the infrastructure within that. So every one of the private providers is on board with continuing to be a partner with our local response entities as well.
I understand.
Yes.
So the backup, they're part of the backup only if you call them. So 911 wouldn't dispatch them.
That's correct.
Okay,
911
thank you.
would not dispatch them if we ran into a situation where we just had a really rough series of calls that has all of our units and our immediate backup tied up, then we would contact them as our next in response entity.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Do we have any, maybe this for the city manager, if there are any additional budget requests or needs at this moment as we shift and transition? Either one. I guess you can answer it too, yes.
Mayor Pro Tem, I expect that there is going to be, we're currently finalizing what those numbers would look like in the form of, we have an idea of how many positions. We're expecting that we would need 12 positions for the peak hour units, which are single role providers. Like I said, we're working with our union and our labor management on what that looks like, where I believe we are in agreement on what that would look like. We just have to go through the formality or the formal process of getting that situated and going through the position request forms. And then the additional resources, we know we need 4 ambulances. We expect to receive some funding for up to 2 of those ambulances. And we will likely be requesting either through ICIP or through other avenues to get the other 2 to see what we can do with regard to that.
Okay, Thank you so much, Chief.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Councilor Flores.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you so much for your fast work on this. This really moved beautifully. I was pleasantly surprised to see that AMR would no longer be working with our fire department. I read it in the Las Cruces, the newspaper. Was it the Bulletin? It was a bulletin? Okay, whatever. But I read it, and I was very pleased because I remember how contentious it was when and he's still the head of Joaquin something, the head of AMR, and it wasn't nice. So I'm really, I want to congratulate you for doing this so smoothly, and I just hope, though, that that it really materializes. It just somehow, it was difficult for me to follow how the funding would be coming in to support prompt service for our community. But I want to thank you very much for all of that, and thank you, Brad, for working with the chief to finalize all this. And thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Craig.
Thank you. Yes, I just wanted to thank you and echo a lot of what my colleagues have said. Thank you all for the long work that I know you have put into it. I remember the conversations about this back in the day when we were talking about the certificates in the TSI committee. So I know that you all have been working on this really diligently, and I just wanted to echo, as new budget needs come up, I hope that you'll, really make sure that we know about them and understand the context. Like, this gives us a lot of really powerful context to make sure that those things are included in our budget conversations. I am going to get a little nerdy public health for a minute. This is, I think this is my field in public health. We talk about and also I really appreciate your extraordinary diplomacy, Chief Daniels, in talking about these things. Again, I know that you all are really extraordinary collaborators with the community, but I'm just going to talk a little bit about the triangle of healthcare in America that we have: cost, access, and quality. And those are the three things. Any change to one of those variables can dramatically affect the other two. And this is my nerdy public health pitch. When everything is focused on cost, and I think I'm just going to lay this out there as I think is known. AMR is part of a private equity-owned corporate entity. I think the things that I've heard are not that the folks who work for AMR aren't great, but that it's really that they're like being paid wages that are inappropriate, asked to work hours that are also inappropriate. I just want to point out that in our system, the fire department provides extraordinarily high quality service, and it is the single thing that I hear most commonly about in my position that the city does so well, that residents trust enormously, like enormously. I'm so proud that you all are seeing that you're the best at this and taking that on. And also I want to acknowledge that this is a function, and you didn't necessarily mention it, but part of this has a lot to do with I would argue the fire department doing healthcare is taking away from some of your other essential duties. I think fire being one of those. And I just want to sort of articulate what it means when a system that is focused on keeping costs as low as possible, and I would add to this things like nursing homes, things like, in particular, nursing homes, assisted living facilities that are also oriented toward keeping costs at a minimum. They disproportionately impact public benefits, public systems like the 911 system, like the transport system of how do people get from one place to another. And so I just want to sort of appreciate you and the city for thinking about this as our focus is quality and access. And in that triangle, we're going to do those things the best. And I think I just really want to appreciate that I have absolute faith that you will do this. And I commit to us making sure that we do everything we can to enable it. So cost, access, quality. In case you guys wonder, it's a triangle. Public health lesson ended. Thanks, Chief Daniels.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor.
Is there anyone else? Okay. Well, thank you, Chief Daniels.
Sorry.
Okay, go.
I got so excited about professoring. I did just want to give me them all again, please. I promise to be quick. I do think just talking about, you alluded to it very briefly, 2026, I would guess it's estimated that between 12 and probably 25% of people in our community will immediately lose. At that time, people will lose healthcare completely, and that will mean that we're struggling to fill that gap as far as reimbursement goes. So I hope I would also like to ask that we really consider, because a 12 to 25% hit to $3 million in terms of reimbursements is a substantial amount of money, and so I hope that we can keep that in our conversation and not affect the access component that we're providing fundamentally at this, but acknowledging that that's going to be definite, at best 12%, but again, potentially up to 25% of people will not be able to have that reimbursement anymore. So. Sorry, I just wanted to elevate that part too. Thanks. Sorry, my mulligan's over. I'm done.
Are you good? Thank you. Thank you for that information. And now I just had a couple of questions. You know, it was asked about the 911 with the private. What about the inter-facility transports? How are those going to be handled?
Mayor, council, the interfacility transports right now, so we are still, our first transition meeting is scheduled for this coming Wednesday. And because we don't know how the DOT is going to rule on the other two providers, generally, when they're not tied together, they will have the ability, the facilities will have the ability to contact the individual providers and really work with those providers, the IFT providers on the private side, to set up the most appropriate time for their patient's transfer and when it aligns. That's kind of the value of having multiple providers in the system. One of the issues, or one of the areas, and we've contested to it, when you only have a sole provider you have a mixed system where interfacility units are being also used for the 911 system, or 911 system units are being used for interfacilities. One of the concerns is that you're going to have a 911 unit and a private provider tied up on the same interfacility transfer request, and then it creates inefficiencies in the 911 system. What we believe is that we will be able to work with the providers so that they can work that out, and then educate the facilities that if they have them set up, they need to call and cancel in a timely manner so they're not burdening the rest of the interfacility system. But that's something that, in speaking with the leadership of all the providers, they're all willing to continue to get at the table. We intend on continuing. So for the first time in this system's history, to my knowledge, last year we started an interfacility stakeholder meeting where we invite all the facilities to just listen to any roadblocks, bottlenecks, things that are bothering them about the interfacility transfer system. And we hope to continue that. We started that with AMR. We hope to continue that with any of the entities that are a part of the system, because we believe we still have a responsibility to the system at large. And we don't want, just because we're not enforcing that side in the form of a contract, we don't want to lose sight of what is going on in the system at large. So we want to maintain situational awareness because, well, as I stated in my presentation, we believe that backlogs in the interfacility system will trickle down and affect the 911 system negatively. So we want to make sure that that we have effectiveness in all areas and we're not sacrificing one for the other.
Okay, thanks. And the other thing is, glad to hear that AMR is still willing to work, get their certificate, and be of service, not being a contract position, but being of service to help with the 911 and the interfacility calls as well. So that's good news. That's good to hear that they're willing to work in this community. And I know you know this as well as I do, and just want to share with the rest is that, you know, part of that two-tier, why we got away from that, was because of the membership. The membership of Las Cruces Fire that started as EMTs and then went to intermediate at the time, but now they're AEMTs, and then to paramedic. Individuals like DC Heck, you know, DC or Battalion Chief Mouche that came into the department as paramedics and led the way and were the pioneers that others followed. I know the dilemma is that they all get promoted. You know, that's the thing. All the paramedics get promoted, right? Because you aspire to that highest level, and it's a reflection. And at one point in 2018, AMR had 32 paramedics. Las Cruces Fire had 42 or 45. That's why the investment, that's why the two-tier went away. We had the resources, we had the personnel, we were providing the quality, and we had the access, as Councilor Coran educated us. And so that's what it's about, and that's what we continue to do. So thank you, and keep up the good work, and we're here to support you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. To add to your fun fact, right, in 2002, when Deputy Chief Heck got into the department, he was one of 3 paramedics in our department. And today we are to your point, the largest employer of paramedics in Doña Ana County. We have 60 plus. We have 3 people currently in paramedic school and another 3 identified to start in August. So we're continuing to build upon that.
Mayor,
Yes, Councilor Matisse.
if I may ask, Chief, just for the public to understand, could you just name a few of the stakeholders, the inner city, that call the ambulance services? Is that the hospitals, and
Yes.
maybe the public would just appreciate that.
Yes, Mayor, Councilor Matisse. So when I talk about our facility stakeholders, I'm speaking to our urgent cares, any one of our nursing homes within the city, any of our advanced care areas, even the hospitals. The hospitals are part of the transfer system, whether they're transferring between local hospitals or they're transferring to El Paso to a higher level of care, or they're transferring people home to discharge them from the floor so they can get to their home and either in home health care or in the care of their families. Also, our hospice agencies in town are also part of the interfacility transfer system. So most of the time, it's a lot broader than one can imagine. Most of the time, we think it's these short trips, but it's dialysis clinics. It's any entity in our area who either transfers patients who need to be on a gurney home or in between facilities are affected by this. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you, DCs. Well, that was the last item, so motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second by Flores.
This is on the motion to adjourn the work session. Counselor McClure?
Yes.
Counselor Matisse?
Yes.
Counselor Graham?
Yes.
Counselor Coran?
Yes.
Counselor Flores?
Yes.
Counselor Bencomo?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Next, we'll have the agenda setting meeting for the July 21st City Council meeting.